Welcome to my new edition of videos on Hollywood North Magazine called Beyond the Lens, where we talk to actors and explore what else they do besides acting. And here's my very first guest, Zoe Ho.
Oh, honored.
Yes, yes. So, how do you find time to balance your acting work and your work as a yoga instructor?
Well, actually, the great thing about being a yoga instructor is it's quite flexible. So I have a really beautiful time when I go in with the clients. So I teach a lot of corporate classes, yeah, and also do private sessions for people going through different situations in life. So it's really quite flexible. So I get to run off and do auditions and shoot things, and I also find that it's very creative and healing to write and act and produce and direct. So it all seems to be one beautiful full circle, actually.
Where did you train for your acting skills, if I may ask?
Actually, this is going to sound really ridiculous, but I first got my training in acting at VFS about 18 years ago. Yeah, so I was like this young little bird, and then I did my training, and then I went off and lived in the Arctic, where I produced television. But yeah, for like 8 years with the Inuit. It was a very different experience. It was more like making National Geographic style shows, and I got to like hunt on the land, and I got to, I wasn't like an actress. I was more wearing khakis, and 300 mosquitoes were biting me, but I was interviewing people as they were hunting muskox or, yeah, just doing their regular, I don't know, harvesting lifestyle stuff.
Now, when you secure a role in in a TV or a movie, what do you consider when preparing for that particular role for an audition?
Hmm. I think it's a really interesting and creative time because you only get the sides and you only know so much about the character. So, as somebody who likes to make up stories, I try to be a detective and mine for all the little details that could tell me what's going on. And then I think about all the possibilities where it connects to my life and what I want. I guess the usual actor stuff, but try to tell a story even within those 2 pages of the sides.
In regards to your your yoga classes, how did those help people the most?
I really love teaching my yoga classes because, to be honest, I am not born a flexible person. Like I said, I used to produce TV and, make magazines. So I had the stiffest body. My friends called me a robot. I followed a podcast that was 20 minutes for yoga. My first downward dog was like, "Ugh, like, why do people do this? I'm never doing this again." I was very sure. But I think it kind of made me more chill, and then I wasn't as cranky at work. And I teach at public classes at the studios here and at the private things here because I do still have a normal person's body and really understanding of what they're going through. People love it because I'm not forcing them to do horrible pretzel-y things that have no meaning. Instead, we laugh at ourselves a lot. Yeah, and we learn a lot more about just how to relax and be versus, I need to put my leg like in front of my face or something.
What impact has yoga and acting have had on your life?
Yeah, so I have to admit, at first, I took up acting kind of to escape a little bit from life because I thought it would be very relaxing because I forgot what it was all about. And then I realized that, oh, there's actually a lot of work and vulnerability and learning to have empathy for your character and daring to show so many parts of yourself. So actually on the mat in a yoga practice or when you're meditating, meeting all the darker parts of yourself or acting and, taking on something that usually you wouldn't dare to do or want to do. To me, it's become kind of the same thing.
Aside from the body stiffness, what are some of the other biggest struggles you run into with yoga?
With yoga, so to be honest, I am taught actually by people who are quite traditional about yoga. And yoga is really not just about the body at all, it's also about the mind, it's about the breath, it's actually, to be honest, even about connecting to spirit. It just depends on how far you go in which direction. So I did a lot of yoga. I really loved it. I am a therapist, and then I had cancer myself. So yeah, I went through breast cancer. And at first, like, I made little videos to encourage other people going through it. I used mindfulness, and to be honest, the journey of going through the treatment was not really that difficult because I had so much, I think foundation on how to deal with life. But after the treatment, after the recovery, when you have lost about, maybe a year or two of your life just fighting cancer. So right now, I guess I'm in, those 2.5 years since that experience. And I have people that I work with who are clients going through the cancer experience. I work with other actors who have anxiety about how to show up in the world. And I myself still, like, I'm so human now. Like, I do have PTSD from my own treatment experience. So while I go through that and I try to figure out how to navigate that every day, I also learn how to show up for other people. And now instead of teaching people and telling them, this is how you do it and this is what's going to make you better, I'm just more like, hey, dude, I'm here with you.
So, what would you say is your goal in life?
I'm not one of those people who go around thinking that like 5 year plans or 10 year plans and soon enough I'm going to be like this kind of actress or that kind of yoga therapist. I'm delighting in the community of filmmakers and how, like I have my crazy side, right? So then it's like lovely to meet people who just want to laugh and make silly things and then I realize now too that I just wrote a short film about a recovered about a person recovering from cancer treatment. Yeah, this silly woman, me. And she comes out to her in-laws as somebody that might agree that marijuana is okay. So for like Asian culture. So I wrote something like that and I'm filming it with my friends and I'm like, everything I write actually funnily is a little bit of myself and that's so healing too. So I hope that I learn to make films, dramatic comedies and stuff, and that I get other people to rise along the way with me. So giving sessions, great. Teaching classes and workshops, great. And also through creativity, yeah, is really beautiful too.
And how has the learning experience been with that?
OMG. Like seriously. I am very lucky because I have friends right now, like the godfather of Indies, Phil Planta, who has emerged, out of the soil to be like the guy that I go like, hey, I just lost my DP. Like, how does this work? Because when I worked up north, it was guerrilla style. So I really had one guy do all the tech and I did all the interviewing and whatever. And now it's like I'm building a team, I am writing, I'm rewriting, I'm meeting with the actors, learning how to direct them, coming up with funding, fundraising, promoting, the film through whatever strategies we can create. Anyway, I guess you know all about what needs to be done to do this, but for me, it's all kind of new because I was doing it in the Arctic. I think it's going to be a great thing, and at the very worst, I'll make some really, really great friends, I think, for life. And at the very, very best, I think it'll be my first comedy short film, and I hope that people would enjoy it.
Okay, great. Well, that's all the questions, and that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching the very first episode of Beyond the Lens, and we'll catch you next time.